got a tip on where to find some Wisconsin gold. So we're gonna go prospecting. So I've driven all the way to Iron County, Wisconsin, because I had a rumor that there was gold here. Typically when I go prospecting, I map out a bunch of places on public land by using Google Earth and different apps. Then I go to those places and start digging. Sometimes I find gold, sometimes I don't. The first place I'm going to check out is this pretty small stream, but it's pretty rocky and gravelly, so maybe there's gold. So if nothing else, maybe we'll find some cool rocks. First spot I'm going to dig is right along this log right here, because that looks like a drop riffle, just like in a sluice box. So maybe there's a pile of gold right there. But there's some gravel. Looking at the tailings, I see a mixture of igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphics. Small piece of quartz. Yep, just jumbled up glacial till. Almost zero black sand. And no gold. Well, I'll poke around a few more spots, and if I don't find anything, on to the next one. Well, nothing in that spot, so we'll move on to the next one. But one of the things that's interesting about this part of Wisconsin is there's a lot of geologic features. There's a lot of igneous rocks, iron formation, that's why they call it Iron County. And those different rock units cause a lot of differential erosion. So there's a lot more topography in this area. Whether or not any of those geologic units brought gold, I don't know. But what I'm hoping to find is different fast-moving rivers where that water can kind of get a little more classified and hopefully deposit some strings of gold. I got a bug bite. Well, our next spot's a little bit bigger river, and it's all basalt. There's all kinds of boulders of basalt everywhere, and it's almost like the water has gone too fast here because there's no sand really left behind. It's just all boulders and cobbles. There's a little bit of pea gravel and maybe a little bit of sand buried underneath some of these rocks, but honestly, I haven't really had the best luck looking at rivers like this. I've had better luck when there's a mixture of gravel and you see that gradation from sand into gravels and cobbles, because you can find that line where the gold drops out. I fear in this that flower gold is just getting blasted through and it's not really finding any place to lay down and accumulate in a string. But we'll poke around, dig around, and see what we get. Now, right behind this rock right here, I see a little bit of accumulation of sand and gravel. So this is like a drop riffle where it's slowing down, creating a low pressure zone, and maybe there's some buildup of gold there. So just clear some of these out so I can dig a little bit easier. And take a pan. Really not much to dig because there's so many rocks, it gets really hard to dig. You're just kind of scraping in between rocks in places like this. You know what? This rock looks like it's even moving, so I'm even going to dig underneath it. Ooh, dragonfly larva. Cool. Swim home, buddy, swim home.
Just keep swimming, just keep swimming.
All right, let's see what we got. The tailings I'm seeing mostly basalt. There's some coarse grain igneous, some gabbro, a little bit of granite, looks like rhyolite, but basalt is the main one here. Oh, here's a piece of quartz.
It doesn't mean anything.
You know what that means. Almost zero black sand. I'm surprised. Thought Iron County would have more iron sand. It's like nothing. And no gold. Sometimes on these prospecting trips I don't find anything. Sometimes I do. So hopefully we do, but I gotta keep looking. So walking up and down this river, I'm just not seeing a very good depositional environment. But we need a better depositional environment to collect the flower gold. So let's keep looking. So I came down the river a bit to a quieter area, and there's a bunch of sand and gravel that have piled up here. So where it was all getting blown out from all those boulders, it's kind of depositing here. So let's poke around here. See, there's a mixture of all different sizes, cobbles to sand, so that looks good. A little more black sand, but still hardly any. No gold. There are so many fish though. I think they like to come where you're digging because they eat the bugs you dig up and stuff. Look at all these fish around my boots. Holy cow. That's insane. Dang it. There seems to be a gate in the way of my next spot. I'm gonna get lost. You know, you pay your taxes, and this is what you get. They don't even fill the potholes. Well, that's a little too sketchy for me to drive through. I feel like I'm gonna get stuck. So this spot is a no-go. Driving around, there's always cool geology to see. I saw this road cut and I had to stop. This is all slate. You can see these razor sharp edges here. That'll cut you up like crazy. But slate was once a sedimentary rock, like a shale, and then it was compressed, metamorphosed, and it breaks off in these perfect cleavage planes. Make a chalkboard out of that, or a pool table. I've seen big quartz veins running through slate like this, but I don't see any in this. It's crazy to think Wisconsin had all these volcanics and all this metamorphism going on. It was under the ocean, then out of the ocean, then covered in glaciers, and then here we are crawling on it. Everywhere you go, there's geology that tells a story of the earth. Okay, we made it to another stream. It's a pretty small stream, but there's a mixture of boulders and sand and gravel, and I see a gravel pile with some sand right there, so I'm gonna check that out. Again, almost zero black sand. And no gold. Starting to see a pattern, aren't you? Me too. The beauty of prospecting is even when you don't find gold, there's still treasure to be found.
Is that a waterfall?
Now, one thing about the outcropping here is I can see it's crystalline in nature. That's not what we find when we find basalt flows. Basalt is what we call aphanitic, or in the absence of crystals. This would be called phaneritic, and it's that crystal matrix. And that happens when the magma cools underground. When it cools underground, it cools a lot slower, and it gives it time for those crystals to grow. An extrusive lava flow cools so fast, there's no time for those crystals to grow, and that's why basalt is aphanitic. It's really fast, the lava can be like glassy. So this tells me that this intrusive body intruded underground and never saw the surface. When this kind of thing intrudes into like limestone or sedimentary rock, that's really good because there's a lot of water, a lot of fluids being pushed around, and that can cause mineralization zones. If it intrudes into another igneous body, it's a lot less exciting. But geology is always exciting, at least a little bit. So here we have our crystalline bedrock, and then right here we have non-crystalline or aphanitic basalt. So how do you get a piece of non-crystalline basalt inside a crystal matrix? Well, this kind of tells me that this crystalline bedrock intruded into the basalt, and this is a piece that broke off and sank into that crystal mush. Then when it all solidified, it gets locked here like a fossil. They call it a xenolith or an inclusion. Geology's cool. This is an interesting feature here because you have crystalline bedrock right there and you have aphanitic basalt right there. You can even see some of the columnar joining. That's really prominent if you ever drive through the Columbia River Gorge in Oregon. But here what I'm guessing happened is this is an intrusive body that intruded into the crystalline bedrock. This may have gone all the way to the surface, who knows? But when you have lava going through a cold rock body like this, or cooler rock body, you can get what we call a chill zone. This will still cool fairly rapidly without getting crystals in there. Sometimes you can get small crystals, and that's what we call like a diabase. If we look close, we can see the zone of contact right there. Crystalline to basalt. You can even see right here is a small dike of basalt. And it pinches off right up there. It's a smaller xenolith of basalt locked inside the rock. So either there's basalt chunks getting locked in the crystal matrix, or basalt is running through it later on, or both. I think both. What this outcrop shows us is there's a lot going on geologically, but no gold here, so let's keep moving. Think people would be mad if I dug in that hole right there? That's the glory hole. Realistically, with flour gold, it's probably all blown right out of there. But we'll check that another day. It's too far down. This is what I've been looking for. This is an amazing looking gravel bar. All different sizes of gravels and sands. If there's no gold dropping out somewhere along this, then I'm gonna say there's no gold anywhere around here. But I'm gonna start testing and we'll see what we find. No gold in that one. Maybe on this inner side of the bar. No gold. Well, I searched all over and I'm just striking out today. Some days are like that, you don't always find gold. But I did have a good time prospecting and looking around. I saw a lot of cool things. I hope you got some enjoyment out of the video, even though we didn't find any gold. But I hope you come on back next time for the next one, because I'm sure we'll find some then. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.